Welcome to this sacred conversation. Oh my goodness, I have the unorthodox psychologist here with me, Karen Foote. I've known Karen for quite a while on Facebook, and I seem to be saying this in so many of my conversations. But it's an amazing place to be able to meet. So Karen and I know each other personally. We've also done work together, and I just love who she is, her straightforwardness, straight to the point. Here she is, and I'd like her to. I'm going to hand her over to you to hand you over to her. Just start introducing yourself, because I thought there's no point me sharing too much of the story because I'd rather you hear it from her. So, Karen, welcome to today.
Thank you for having me, Chantel. Yes, and you are now in my hands. Be very afraid. I hope you're strapped in. So,
And she's right.
anyway, so I've known Chantel, wow, for quite a few years now, and like she said, we have worked together. What's the question again? Why have I chosen to do this? Or
Yeah, why? It's basically choosing why you call yourself the unorthodox psychologist. How did you get into this? What do you do? Because I'm really wanting women just to hear, like, it's okay to be different. It's okay to bend rules. And I want people to explain, why do you call yourself unorthodox, even though you're a psychologist? Because I love the way you've done this to suit you without breaking not breaking the law, but breaking, what is it, the psychologists. Anyhow, you carry on. I can't find the word at the moment.
the ethics code and all. Yeah,
That's it.
So traditionally I am trained in psychology, but I don't buy into some of the theories because it is they're created by men, isn't it? So it shouldn't be applied to all women. So
yeah, yes,
as human beings, yes, maybe, but most of the famous psychologists are actually male. So, and white males too, by the way. And as you can see, I'm Asian. So a lot of the theories doesn't quite, I don't buy it. But it is a good place to start. We need a basis in which we can build further. And like what Chantel has said before, I like to bend rules. Yeah, because it's fun. It's fun to play outside the box because that's where the fun begins and where people haven't been before. And I do like surprises, which is why I love doing what I do. I started off working with children, not children, youth actually, at-risk youth in Singapore using horses as therapy. So I really enjoyed that kind of work. I enjoy influencing people, but of course, as a psychologist, I'm not allowed to be too directive in my approach. So I've then pivoted to do business coaching with entrepreneurs who are willing to try out different things. So currently what I'm doing is I am also trying to break the mold that when you approach 50 and beyond, life's going to be shit. It's not, I assure you.
yes.
It can only get better because that is our choice. So life is about choices and about fun. We are not here for a long time. We might as well have a good time. That's my motto. So what I'm currently doing is I am sharing my journey to 50. This year, I turned 50 in December. And I plan to lose some COVID weight because I had so much fun over COVID. I had happy hour as soon as I opened my eyes. It was a lot of fun. And I don't blame COVID for it. I got closer to my family for it. So that's nice. I want to prove that life can get better. We can create a life that is more fun. Life can begin at 50. We can still look good. We can feel good, but not compromising what we want and bend ourselves to what society thinks we should look like. You know, if I'm supposed to look like how my culture wants me to look like, I'll look like a probably half of me will be the perfect size, but I'm not. So I'm happy.
Yeah. I love it. And I love the fact, because I mean, we're a decade apart, basically, because I just turned 60.
Yeah, that's right.
And like, I'm suddenly going, oh my, I mean, 50 was great, turning 50, but I was still in the trauma. So I didn't quite get it. But I had that sense of what you're saying. Turning 60 is a whole new ball game. And I love the fact that, like you said, it's about choices. We can choose to remain visible. We can choose to have society put us down. And it doesn't mean that it's not easy, but the more we talk, this is wonderful, what you're saying, the more we talk. And I love how you've segued. You've just said it here, because I do take notes, because that's my way of listening. You know, going from a psychologist to a business coach. I mean, what a shift that is. Yet, because I've known, you know, I have worked with Karen. What I love about her being a business coach is she can bring in some of her training on, you know, because often business coaches, they're certainly don't understand things. We've often had these conversations, haven't we? So
Yes,
being a therapist versus a coach, and do they cross over or not? So talk a little bit more about that. How has it been supportive for you as well as for your clients?
Oh, absolutely. The psychology training plays a huge part, because I have worked with a business coach as I was starting my business coaching business. Business coaches focus on processes. They have a certain set of process that you must have.
Yes.
You must have a funnel set up. You must have this. You have the back end, whatever email thing set up. But I'm not about that, because you take away the human element of it. Why do they want to start this business? The passion is what's going to take them when things become difficult.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you keep, and creative people don't like processes. That's why we pay an assistant to do it for us. We need to unlock the creativity and free them, so that what they create in their business can come true. So that's why I like doing it. And because I'm very directive in my style, I'm much more suited to be more like a mentor coach versus a psychologist, because this is no go, because Chantel knows me. I like to tell you what to do.
She does.
As a psychologist, yeah. I'm not meant to tell you what to do. As a psychologist, I'll be like, I'll try and bring you around the bush 10,000 times if I have to, just so you can discover it yourself, when it's so clear and easy if I just told you.
And I like that, because initially, because also where I was feeling a lot more vulnerable at the time. I loved it and appreciated it, because in many ways I can be very direct, but at the same time, sometimes it's like, oh.
I remember.
Yes, it's like, oh, I have to go away and just have a moment, because I'm being very British. Get my salts out, you know, get my little fan.
I know. I remember the early days. I actually do remember.
Yeah. But at the same time, what I loved about it was, even though it was confrontational, sometimes too much so for where I was at the time, but also you held the space. You know how to hold space. You know how to make someone feel safe. And that was the most important thing for me at that point in time.
Psychology training, it does help. Yeah, the therapy training helps.
And I think it does, because I like the way you put it. I mean, trying to business coach focus on processes, strategies. They don't focus on maybe starting to change. They don't focus on, like you said, the passion, the creativity, the emotions, or why is someone not moving forward the way they could be or should be.
That's right. What's holding them back? They don't ask you about, you know, what's happening. Why did you not do what I asked you to do? They don't care. But what they say, if you don't succeed, they'll say it's your fault because you didn't follow the process. I've given you the workbooks and all that. You should be selling the workbooks. And if they don't sell, it's your problem because you're not out there selling it. That's exactly but a lot of the time it's not. It's much more than that.
Yes. It is, and I really love the way you said, again, so open, because I've been trying to, you know, been doing the bit of the British side, going round and round in circles as well, because I don't want to upset anyone. But having looked back over my experience, and that's why I really appreciated meeting you, was up until then, I had, again, when you've gone through something trauma, so I had PTSD, as you know, those who are listening who haven't met me before, I lost discernment. So I couldn't discern. So I needed the coach to actually give me these processes. But what I didn't realize was that those processes might not be for me.
That's right.
It didn't leave room for my energy. It was actually, so a lot of us do this. Even I think it's also, and mind you, you've come from a different culture. So this is why it's so good to have these conversations, because I was taught to blend in.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught to, well, you told me to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we're not taught to go, actually, well, no, I don't want to do that. So what's your experience of that in your, you know, from your upbringing and who you are?
Actually, this is a disclaimer, so I'm gonna say it anyway because I always do. to be fair, a lot of the cultures besides Americans tend to stand on their own quite a bit. They're quite individualistic versus other cultures where assimilation is very important. So in my culture, we also assimilate. We try to blend in. It's about teamwork, you know, like the teamwork makes the dream works kind of thing. Why am I different? I think it's my upbringing that makes me different, because my mom tells me all the time that I'm different. I'm made for whatever I want. So at a very young age, I was given choices. And if it doesn't feel good, then it's not good. So that, even having that, you would think that having that kind of mindset would be easy. It's not. Because then people say, why can't you play nice? Why are you not a group? Why are you not a team player? Why are you so attention seeking? You know, why can't you just follow what everyone does? So there is, it bites you in the bum too, having such strong sense of self.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That has been very, very difficult navigating, actually.
Yeah. And I think this is really a powerful conversation to have, because often people see you, or like whoever, they see the facade or see this. Yes, you. So in a way, from what you're saying, oh, she's arrogant, or she's over this and over that, when deep down what you're trying to do, you are in a way wanting to assimilate, yet wanting to be your own individual person. I think this is what happens for a lot of us. And it's about finding that in between where, yes, you can go, for example, to a coach or whoever it is, but still be you in it.
Yeah.
So like you, still be you. And that's why I like your work and who you are. Because you give, in a way, it's got tough love. You know, it's tough, but it's also kind.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Because people don't realize how it has to be an interplay of both worlds. It has to be that way. There's no, I've learned now that I'm almost 50. It took me almost 50 years to learn there is a gray area that we play in all the time, because I like my absolutes, because it makes my life very simple. I like it either black or it's white. I like it or I don't. I don't like this, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because then there's just too much muddiness. But as you grow older, you realize that there is such a word called moderation.
Now that's big coming from you, Karen. That is big.
Oh yes, I have grown.
You have grown. And, you know, we just talked about this before we came on, everyone, you know, how much we've already shifted and changed since we've known each other, and the courage it's taken to get here, and to find that, because in a way, ironically, despite that British side of, you know, being, you know, so polite, and that I've been black or white. It's either this or that. So my mother used to say, you don't have a grey area. And I never understood what that meant. So over the years, like you, I'm no longer going to call it grey. I'm calling it colour. To find that colour. You know, colour. Because grey, I don't want to be in that grey area. You know, it's
boring.
What's the point? Because then you may as well be black or white. So yeah, so like you, I've had a bit of difficulties where girlfriends have said, really love you. And when you say something, it's like, oh, it's straight to the point. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm so sorry. Because in a way I am. But, you know, they know me well enough. So like you said, how have you been finding this grey area, or this in between?
I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it. I struggle in it. So this gray area is almost like, if you can envision a pool, there's two shallow ends.
Yeah.
The gray area is where the deep end is, where I have to pedal, like, you know, like, yeah.
I love it. Because I can just see you doing that. Not that you wouldn't even most probably go there if you can avoid it.
No, I wouldn't. I'll just cling on to the side. So yeah, that's me, like doing that pedal in the middle. I don't like it, because like I said, it's just too much possibilities.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, too much possibilities that can happen in the gray area. I like things simple, because like I said, we don't have a lot of time. We as human beings, we love to complicate things.
Yes.
I don't want to complicate things anymore. Life's too short. If I don't like it, I'm out.
Yes, that's right. But it's also sometimes extricating yourself, because most of the world like to make it, don't understand this concept of simplifying it and just like, okay, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. It baffles them when they ask me, Carol, why did you do that? I said, because I can. So that
Yes.
sounds so arrogant. I'm sure when Chantel first heard me say it, she's like, what the hell's that? What is that?
Right.
Why would she say that? Because
That's
I
right.
can? I said,
Yes.
yeah, but because literally I can. I made that choice
Yes.
and I did it. I executed it and it feels good. So because I actually can.
That's exactly right. And I suppose, again, because like in a way, what I loved about it was, number one, I was, like, oh my God, that's that British side of me come. Then the French side comes, oh, thank God, thank God someone's actually saying this. It's actually like giving me permission. So in a way, what you're doing is you're giving people permission. And I think I am going to, for me, put a little bit of a thing on it. This is what as I was saying to you earlier, my Gestalt therapy training. I think it's also how you do it. I think there still needs to be a little bit of room of not just rigidity. It's because I can, and that's it. Because I think that can be actually a negative.
Yeah, yeah. I agree 100% because as part of what I share with the world, I'm a huge advocate for compassion and kindness.
Yes.
And also honesty. I'm huge on honesty. Chantel knows that. Yes. But a lot of people mistaken honesty for cruelty. They think that honesty means I can say whatever I want with no regard of how you feel. That's not what honesty is about. No. Honesty is speaking the truth with kindness.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh my God. I think, again, we say this is the Gestalt therapy. I keep coming back to that because you're triggering all these, and also it's the throat chakra, so it's that about how to have self-expression and being mindful. Like we said earlier, you can't be responsible for someone, how they react, because you're not going to know, because that's often, I think, what stops a lot of us from saying anything. What will they say? Will I be rejected? Will I be loved? Versus how can I say this, tone of voice and types of words. That's what I needed to learn. That's what I learned. And instead of being aggressive, I became assertive.
Wow, I like that. Yes, that's a huge difference because people again confuse aggression with assertion. It's very different. Very, very different. And people also they also forget that what is the reason you're saying what you're saying? Yeah. Is it truly for the good of this person, or is it you want to hurt them, or what? So the outcome is very, very different. So choose your outcome and bear the consequences and then go for it.
And I like that, because that is it. Because often we do think that's when we are reactive. We do it out of spite, and then we don't know how to go back and say, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean that, that's or it came out incorrectly. And again, you can't be responsible if someone doesn't want to accept that. But then this is how this whole shit show basically happens, isn't it? And marriages go wrong, friendships, families, because you said.
That's right.
Because we can't separate the emotions and the words.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So it's so important. I cannot emphasize how important it is that kindness in our speech is so important. If you don't mean it, don't say it. Don't ever say it. Don't think that you've known someone for the longest time, 30, 40 years even. I have a friend who I've known for the longest time, think that it's okay to be rude. And he's like, oh, I'm just saying it because I'm so honest with you. Because I've known you for so long, so I can't know. This doesn't mean you can be cruel to me. You're not being honest, you're being cruel. That's right. So I don't accept whatever you're saying.
Yeah. And I agree with you, because I know for a while there, years ago, and I was starting therapy, and I was just trying to think how long ago it was, where there was this movement happening. I'm just going to put it in my words, where it was about being honest, saying how you thought, because you need to learn to do that. Boy, oh boy. I had someone do it to myself, and I was so taken aback.
Yeah.
Again, it was like, because that's how we were taught. Go and say to Karen, this is what I think. So get it out of your system, But the repercussions were huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah, that's right. So communication, it's an absolute art form. Absolutely.
Yes. And I think so. It is an art form. So let's come back and segue back being into, like, from a psychologist to a business coach. So now, because, like you said, they focus on strategies, you don't. So how do you communicate what you do then as an art form? So like, how have you evolved? Because I've watched you evolve and going into this unorthodox and how you do things. Just tell people, what's this process been like for you?
Actually, you will actually really appreciate this, Chantel. I just go by intuition. That's why I call myself
Yes.
unorthodox, because as a psychologist, everything is science-based. But yet I am held up by so many superstitions that my children say, Mom, I can't believe you're so superstitious. I'm like, because that's the way I'm raised. And I don't have to give up any part of myself so that I could fit into a mold and be called a psychologist. I trust my instincts and I like using it. And the more you use it, you know that, the more you use it, the more you hone it, the more powerful it is.
Absolutely. And it's exciting. I find it exciting. And I feel like I'm part of the big, now I finally get, and that's the coming back to, for me, what I call the seven, well, it's a seven chakra for me, is knowing you are being held and you're part of something, not just this. We are actually expansive. It took me a long time to step into that understanding of what that meant.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we thrive structures. That's why we have an education system. Everything has a system. So we thrive within that structure. And because I raised two boys, I know they thrive on boundaries. But yet, we don't give ourselves enough trust that we are already safe. We set the boundaries ourselves and we are safe in and outside as long as we know how to hold it. We know how to hold steady within our boundaries, and that's okay. We can go out and play once in a while and come back when you're tired, and that's fine.
Mm. And I like that because, again, how many of us have had that through our own parents? It does go down generational, you know, and I'm just only now starting to do visual art journey, and stuff has been coming up. So said to use my non-dominant hand and going back to my childhood. You know, I've got a particular image of a photo of her, the poor little thing. Well, I call her poor little thing at 3.5, because here I was a year ahead at school, and we start early. So I was in pre-primary at 3.5, and there's me with my little boater hat and gloves and tie going to pre-primary, 3.5, 4. You know, so, and also because I came from an unsafe home, I never knew how to like have boundaries. Like mine was so rigid. So I had to also, because even though Dad was Catholic, Mum was Anglican, we came from a society where you still had to do the right thing.
Yes.
You know, I went to a good Catholic school, you know, so I had already these, so I had structure, but it was so strict that I didn't know how to be out of structure.
Yeah, yeah.
That was too scary for me. And only now, I mean, I've done a lot of work, but only just even these last, recently again, am I having fun looking at her and going, oh my God, where was she?
Yeah.
You know, where was this child having fun, breaking loose, coming back to you, being unorthodox, obviously, as a child, you know, having that freedom to explore who you are.
That's right. That's right. It is, trust me, my mainstream colleagues just will be like, I don't know what she thinks she's trying to prove. Nothing. I'm trying to prove that at the end of the day, no one defines you but yourself.
Yes, that's right. And that's the whole, that's exactly it. No one defines you but yourself. But it's that simple yet that hard.
It is. It really is, because the world tries to label you when they don't understand. People fear what they don't understand.
Yeah.
And then when they fear, they shun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shun, get aggressive, get angry, get nasty. It's all
That's
those
right.
sort of things.
Only because they don't understand.
Exactly right. And they don't, and I would hazard a guess as well, deep down, don't even feel safe within themselves either. Because if you feel safe, if you have confidence, you've been brought up that way, you can accept differentness.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
You know,
it's okay. It's okay to be different.
It is okay to be different. And that
because we are made different, yet we try to be the same. Isn't that a joke?
Know. It is, that is the whole irony. I know, that's exactly, we have this such a need to belong and be part of, because if you're not, you are rejected. You know, if you say something different in a woman's group, I'm just thinking of a, you know, a mother, you know, you're rejected. So what you do is you conform, you keep conforming.
Yeah.
or family. And I look at some of the stuff with both sides of my family, one part being French and the other part Australian English. You know, I look at both things. Oh my God, it took me a long time to go. I like this from my French side. I like this from my Anglo-Saxon side. And this is who I am.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes they didn't meet from that level, but they met here for me.
That's right. And that is what is where it truly matters.
Yeah.
That's
so how have you
truly matters.
Exactly right. So tell me about, you know, you came from Singapore to Australia, you know, explain a little bit about how, because as you said, here you would have been considered arrogant. Oh my God, she's just, you know, up herself and all that. How did you find blending in, which is, you know, because where did you meet your husband? Are you happy to share? I'm asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
Because your husband's not, you know, Singaporean. So how did you find all this, or even together, you know, as a couple?
It was a struggle. It was a struggle. I met him in Singapore. So in Singapore, I am different, but I'm around people whom I've grown up with. So they're used to me being the way I am.
Yeah.
But over here, because Australians pride themselves as being, you know, they're different. And when they meet me and when I like always want to color out of the box.
Yeah.
It was difficult. Yeah, you know me so well. They'll be like, oh, Karen, just do that. No, just paint down there. No, come and play here. No, I just want to go down here. So that very strong sense of personality has actually created a lot of uncomfortable family dinners.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I think also, even though, like you said, you were different in your culture, but you still had similarities, because like you said, you still had your superstitions, you still ate, you know, so there was an element of comfort in there, even though you were allowed to be different. Whereas here you were taken out completely.
That's right.
But not only were you Asian here,
yeah,
you're also different in your Asianness and personality.
Yeah, I didn't meet the stereotype. And very often, actually, my mother-in-law used to tell me, I thought Asians are meant to be meek and quiet, and you know, why are you talking back all the time? Why are you born with an opinion?
Yeah.
So
yeah, because you didn't conform.
No, didn't believe in it.
No, and not only that, it's another thing that we do. You didn't conform to what society thought you were meant to be.
No.
You see, so there's a perception as an Asian woman, you should have been, I suppose, compliant on whatever, conform, compliant, meek, as you said, and there you were. God, you would have shaken up those roots, my darling.
Oh, I
foundations
absolutely
were wobbly.
Oh yeah, I absolutely did. Even I mean, marrying my husband, my Australian husband, he's a second marriage.
Right.
Even my first husband's family struggled with me. So big time.
Yeah.
Because I cannot be told what to do, because I had so much autonomy growing up.
Yeah.
Why don't you just try and tell me, of course, and then I'll do the opposite things. But of course that contributed to the rebel.
Yeah.
I always thought that I always thought that was bad.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was refreshing, but I don't know any other way.
That's right. And I think it's something, so for those of you who are watching and who are be interested, leave us comments, and how do you feel? Because I think what I'm hearing is, like, on the one hand, you so want to be yourself, yet in one way you made your life hard, but on the other hand, you did not want to be any different. So it's just, I think what I'm loving about this conversation, so sort of coming to the end, is like showing people, and particularly women, that you can be yourself in your own way.
That's right. It is so important, especially if you have the younger generation living with you, if you have children. You are in a position to mold our future. So do it. Yeah. Show them, when you are yourself, you're showing them that I'm not ashamed of who I am.
Yes, and that's it. Yes.
It's okay to be who you are, and I'm proud of who I am. Not perfect, don't need to be. Nobody expects you to be.
Yes.
You know, the more mistakes you make, or not deliberately, of course, only makes you human. Don't hide them away.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. So don't be ashamed of who we are, because so many of us are. We are shamed into staying in this tight box. And if you dare step out, either you are drawn, sucked back in, or cut off.
Shame is such a powerful tool, though.
What was
so
that?
Powerful.
Sorry?
People, shame.
Yeah, it is.
It is such a powerful weapon. People
It
use
is.
it. They wield it in any way, workplace, at home, anywhere. People just wield it. The only way you can have power over it is to be unashamed.
Yeah, and that's what takes time. And see, in a way, you've had that advantage because you were brought up in a whole different within your actual family.
That's right.
See, I was the opposite. I've had to really work through. So for me, it's been a huge process.
Yes.
And there's still moments I can still feel shame. But at least now
we're at the two end of the scales. We're at the two different end of this scale. I'm brought up with all this, and then I come out, people shame me for being who I am. Why are you like this? Why are you not like everyone else? So another famous phrase I like to use is, people are going to talk, so give them something to talk about.
And you love that. See, for me, that was like, no. They
are going to talk though, so give them something fun to talk about. You can control the narrative.
You can. And I think also this is coming back to ego versus confidence. So in our society, well, I know my way of bringing up, that would be considered ego. In your society, it's called confidence, or it's just, so it's different. So all these things come into play. What's one last thing you'd like to say, and who do you support in business? Because I'd like you to talk a little bit, got a few more moments about business, and we're going to put all your contact details in the description. So just, yes, you're an unorthodox, what was it? I've gone blank. Psychologist. Who do you help and why? Mainly women, people in business. So just give us a quick rundown.
Okay, so I have been running a business group for female entrepreneurs. So I do help them with marketing ideas and people who are willing to color out of the box will find me interesting. I'm also sharing my journey to 50. So that is my new thing. And a new book following this journey will be published very, very soon. Right. So this is my second publication. It'll be a movement to a better life after 50.
Yes.
There's not enough attention, almost like we fade away after we raise children. You just wait to die. No. Now I plan to have a lot of fun.
As if you haven't had anything already, which is going to be different now. So movement to a better life after 50, isn't it? Yeah, I love it. To a better life after 50. Thank you. Oh, that's just amazing. So anyone, if you've got questions or anything, just pop them there. One of us will get back to you. If you want to find out, connect with Karen, you'll see all her links. She's on TikTok.
I'm on everywhere.
Oh, she's on everywhere. My God, even TikTok. I mean, you've actually done that anyhow. I will not.
I've gone. I like to be everywhere.
You do, don't you? That's exactly right. And she is everywhere in a really lovely way. So Karen, I'd really appreciate. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this. I just think it's giving others the permission to be able to just become who you are, whichever way that looks like for you.
That's right.
And that's the freedom you're giving by being the unorthodox psychologist. So thank you, my beautiful friend.
Thank you, Chantel, for having me. And you got this. You really do.
Yeah.
Choose to be the you want.
That's right. Beautiful note to end on. Thanks. See you later. Bye.